Welcome back. In this video we're going to learn a very simple animation technique where we're going to take a smiley face and we're just going to move it across the screen. There won't be any way of interacting with it, but it is a skill that you need to learn in order to move on in your programming. So I've already placed the smiley face image inside of my image folder within the asset folder. So the first thing I need to do is introduce some variables. I need a variable where I can store that image that I'm loading into there, so we're going to call it smiley. And then because we're moving our image around the screen, we're going to be changing the x and y coordinates. So we need to introduce some variables to reference the x coordinate and the y coordinate. So we'll call it introduce smiley x and introduce the variable smiley y. Now we need to tell the smiley image where it's going to start. We need to set the starting coordinates. So let's say that smiley x coordinate, we'll just start that at 0, and you can start that wherever you want on the x coordinate. Remembering that 0 will be the top left hand corner and increasing as you go to the right. We need to set the smiley y coordinate as well, and we'll start that at 0 as well. Remembering that 0 will be the top left hand corner and increasing as you go down. It's counterintuitive to a normal coordinate grid. Down will be increasing, up will be decreasing. Now we need to place the smiley image on the screen at the coordinates that we've listed. So we're going to store that information inside the variable smiley. That's why we created smiley. And we're going to add the image onto the screen. So view add, bracket, quotation mark, images / smiley.png, that's what I called it. And we want the x coordinate located at smiley x, and we want the y coordinate located at smiley y. So now we've got the image on the screen. If I were to run it, we would notice that the image is located in the top left hand corner starting at coordinate 0, 0. Okay, now that we've got our image located at 0, 0 right now, we need to tell it to actually move. And we're going to do that in on timer, because on timer runs 30 times in 1 second. So it's going to run the instructions we put in here 30 times in 1 second, so 60 times in 2 seconds. So the first thing we want to do is take the x coordinate and increase it so that it will look like it's moving to the right. So we'll take the x coordinate, smiley x, and we're going to change the value of that. We're going to increase it by 1. Now, I could type in +1, and that will move the x coordinate by 1, and that'll happen 30 times in 1 second. So in 1 second, it'll move 30 units to the right. But I can also use ++, and that will do the same thing as +1. It means the exact same thing. There's no reason to use one or the other, really. This works. And we want to do the exact same thing with the y coordinate. So smiley y is equal to smiley y ++. Increase it by 1. Now all that does is change the value stored in smiley x. It doesn't actually relocate the image to those coordinates. So what we have to do is tell it to show the image at the new coordinates. So we're going to use a new API called view set xy. You can think of it as that change the view of the image and set it at the new x and y coordinates. The image we want to relocate is smiley. We want the new coordinate, the new x coordinate, to be the one that we found in smiley x, and that'll address this smiley x being increased by 1. And we want to set the new y coordinate at smiley y. Okay, we can go ahead and run our program. And you can see our image, and I apologize for that funky jump. That's just because I moved the iPad up as it went. If we were to run it right from the beginning, it would start in the top left hand corner. Now you're going to notice that it can only move in one direction because we're increasing our x coordinate and our y coordinate 30 times in 1 second. And the other problem we're going to run into is that it's going to keep going forever and ever and ever and ever. And that's a problem because we actually don't want it going off screen. But for now, we have a very simple animation that moves diagonally across our screen. So the next question you could ask yourself would be, how can you change the speed that your image is moving? So if you come back to this plus plus, instead of saying plus plus, which increases it 1 unit 30 times per second, you could change that to plus 5, plus 10, plus 100, and that will change that 30 times in 1 second. So you'll see an increase in speed either to the right or down, and so on. So you've got a very simple animation going on your screen. We'll worry about setting the boundaries in another video. I can't wait to see what you come up with.